My thing is, I just wish it wasn't a one-on-one format. I wish it was a crew, because that's how I fell in love with breaking.
Junjo versus Master Monkeys at R16 is the most watched video out there. It's like 98 million views because you saw the energy was going back and forth. So I completely agree with you.
But just imagine the best dudes from the U.S. and you could be politically correct and have a B-girl, a veteran, a kid, all on the team. So you cover everything. You don't have to be doing B-girl battles, blah, blah, blah. No, we all rep. You know,
that's also our
representing the U.S.
Too.
Exactly.
3v3, 2v2s. Just as long as there was some sort of camaraderie, it kind of told a story. In this episode, we have some world-class, iconic B-boys representing Skill Methodz crew, Luigi and Flea Rock. What's up, fellas?
What's up? Ronnie?
How y'all doing, man?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here.
Sir.
We're in your backyard, or at least Flea Rock's backyard.
Flea Rock
Venice
works right
Beach,
there.
baby.
Yeah.
This is so dope.
He works right there.
Yeah, I know. Yo, there's actually this one time, this was a few years ago, I was staying in one of the rooms, and I looked out the window, and I see you doing one of your street shows. I was like, yo, Flea Rock! But of course, you couldn't hear me. Yeah. But man, it's so crazy, bro, that like you literally work in paradise. This is so dope. Who started Skill Methodz?
Abstract and Flips, right?
Yeah.
When did you guys get down with the crew?
I got down in 98 or 99. Yeah.
So before you even started breaking, you were already down with Skill Methodz.
I mean, he was already in Skill Methodz when I was kind of like looking, like when I was going to these jams, like they were already repping Skill Methodz, and they were running Florida at that point too. So I was like, all right, these are the guys, you know?
I've done a few interviews where they would ask me who I thought had the best scene, you know, whether or not it was, you know, country, regional, but I always would mention Florida because I always felt like Florida breakers are just built differently. So what do you think it is about Floridians that stands out from the rest?
I would say, you know, we are on the East Coast, and like he said, Miami scene is a bit older than I think in other places in Florida. As far as like people knowing that there's actually a scene there, because there could have been breakers all over Florida in the 80s to the 90s, but we didn't really know, you know. I think Miami had more of like you said, like experience and more culture there. So yeah, I think Street Masters, right? Yeah, Street Masters and all those guys, you know, like they really like established a certain style and a certain energy.
Right.
Flip Side, you know, Ground Zero, these guys set a standard, right? Like so I think from that, Florida was always like, yo, talked about.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're coming up in Florida, you hear about these guys, Skill Methodz, you hear about Street Masters, you hear about, you know, the major crews from Florida. So I think naturally we have a history there, and somehow wherever you're at in Florida, you're getting some of that history for sure when you start breaking. So, you know, I think that energy alone makes you, you know, proud of where you're from, and makes you be like, yo, I gotta, you know, get on that level.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what it has to do. And the history and the energy of Florida.
A lot of B-boys too, what I realized, is very versatile, because I know you guys are also doing shows, right? Universal Studios or something that most of like the main breakers in the scene were doing. So how did you guys get into that?
That helps too. Yeah, I think the scene in Florida, I get this question a lot, and I hear it a lot too, and I'm super flattered by it because I'm like from there. And so when people talk about Florida, I'm super proud. And I think it's a combination of, one, we had a healthy scene. People like Speedy Legs throwing big events already super early, bringing out people from New York. And Florida has a very, you know, it's very ethnic, it's very cultured, a lot of Latin influences there, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, and all that. Brazilians, you got capoeira influence, along with all the New York people that would come down to visit. We had that perfect combination of like the New York foundation mixed with the Latin flavor,
right?
You know, so I think that's what really kind of set us apart too. And I think the weather has a big thing to do with it. I swear, because I've been living out here in California for a while, and like my bones, I'm like, because it's colder, it takes me longer to warm up. Florida, you're like
The humidity.
You're warm every
You're
time you
warm.
walk out. The humidity.
Everything's good. You're
And we're
sweating. You're
closer to the
good.
equator too, right?
Yeah, you're just kind of like I think ready
Miami's
to
like-
go at all times. And like, I mean, I was also young too, but I really truly feel like that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and the land culture too, because just naturally
time.
dancing is in your DNA.
Yeah.
So when did you guys decide to migrate west? Because a good portion of the Florida b-boys ended up moving to LA, right?
Mm.
During that time, breaking for us, we were reaching such a high level and stuff like that, and we love to break and we love to do what we, and at the time the jams weren't paying like how
Right.
they are now. There was no sponsorships like that. There was no assistance, no support. So if you wanted to break full time, you would have to either do industry work, do shows, street shows, and those were like our only options because we didn't want to get regular jobs, like we wanted to dance full time. So like at that time there was no like avenue for us to like really thrive as b-boys. So we would have to come out here and kind of try to make it and make our money there in the industry so we can still break, because then we get jobs as dancers and stuff, so we get to break, so we get to do what we love to do as our job, and that's always been the goal. But now it's a lot easier now, and we have dudes like Flips from our crew who came out super early and kind of showed us the blueprint on how to do it, because we see this guy breaking, making money, doing good, and we all were like, okay, I guess that's the way to go, and like one by one you could tell we just started coming out here.
Yeah.
People started, these Legacy and Flea came out before me, and they started doing good, and I started seeing like a pattern, here.
Yeah, showing you the ropes, right?
But it's not easy, bro. Like it's not like that easy. It's not you just come out here and make it. We came at a good time. We had good support. We good. We helped each other out. We would hit a lot, and we're artists. It goes up and down, and you got to be really cool with that.
Yeah.
If not, this ain't for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we have times where we're super broke. We have times that we're paid, but that's the life of
Of an artist. Yeah.
It's not really like a specific moment, but the balance of the industry and doing competitions and like the scene, that whole kind of like, I used to struggle with that a little bit because I want to compete, but I also need money to so it was hard for me. I feel like I missed out on very like prime moments in my breaking career because I was like doing industry stuff too, like especially the years that I was in, like my prime years, like my like when I was really young, and like so I feel like I kind of missed out on it, but it's okay. That's like probably the only thing I regret, that is like it was a little hard to kind of, and that's why I wish I could just be a b-boy. Sometimes the industry and like doing all that stuff is kind of cool, but deep down inside I've always just dreamt to be like a b-boy, like how Tony Hawk is famous for skating. I want to be famous for breaking. And like Tony Hawk plays himself in movies, like he does movies, but he plays Tony Hawk,
Right.
so I was like, I wanted that same type of thing. I've always wanted to be known as a b-boy. I love breaking more than anything. Like this stuff, Hollywood step up, is kind of like it's a plus. I do it to like to
pay the bills.
Pretty much.
But it's not too late, because there is an ecosystem now, and there is an industry for competitive breaking, and I think that's the direction.
I just feel like I'm on the older side on it right now.
I don't feel like you are, bro. I feel like you're so capable. I think it's all in your mind, bro. Look at Rocks. Look at Hong 10. They're still killing it. Hong 10 is a perfect example. He's won 3 world championships in 3 different decades: 2006, 16, and 23.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in my defense, they got sponsors, and like they're taken care of.
That's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
Like they have support and backing. Like, if they got hurt, they could get it looked at. I get hurt, and like,
That,
what I mean? I kind of have to just deal with it on my own until it like doesn't hurt anymore. But thank God,
Yeah.
I haven't been seriously hurt. But those are the type of things I guess we deal with.
Yeah, I think we would compete a lot more if we had sponsors, for sure.
Right.
Oh, I would have done the Olympics, B.
Yeah.
Because they can go to any comp and just hit up Red Bull and be like, yo, I want to go here, and they're going to get flown out.
That's
They're going to
true,
get taken
yes,
care
that's
of.
the-
I'm not mad either, because I feel like we paved the way for kids to have that opportunity, and I'm truly happy for them. Like they're like living our dream.
Yeah,
truly.
But it happened. It's generational because
Yeah.
even when we started traveling, we owe it to our OGs for giving us those opportunities.
Absolutely.
But then the same thing we were talking about earlier. Now the new generation, they get these opportunities because of like what we've paid for them. Because when we were in Tokyo back in 2003, that was like a turning point in my breaking career. Because I remember we were so broke. We came in thinking that we were going to win, and we lose the first round. We're at the airport, bro, scrounging, like trying to pitch in money just to buy McDonald's. And that was the same year that you guys made it to the finals against Tribal. So imagine back then, you guys already had sponsors. We didn't. Yeah. There was Tribal, there was Wild South Technician. So it existed. But it wasn't like you could make a living off of it.
Yeah,
they were doing what you were saying. They would fly you out, right?
Yeah.
We got lucky just because Cross One saw us as like, okay, those are the young cats. They'll be down and just fly out. But minimal per diem,
I mean,
broke as shit.
When at that age, it's not that bad. Like, getting a little ticket paid for, staying at someone promoter's house.
Yeah.
18, 19 years old, that's okay.
But my dude, I was already in college. So I was already like, I should be doing something with my life. 2003, we were older. We were in our 20s already, right? So I know what you're saying. Yeah. And throughout the generations, it's like, not that you're part of that generation, but now the new generation, they're a little bit more entitled because they see like, okay, they got sponsors. Now I need to get paid $10K to enter this battle. Like, they don't realize that, bro, like the first 10 years of our careers, we didn't see shit, you know?
And you would win a trophy, bro, not like,
and
you wouldn't win money.
It was bragging rights.
Yeah, it was like more about the respect and like, the trophy, and you probably, $300 or something like that, split between 5 people or something. Yeah. It was kind of tough, but, it wasn't really about that so much either. It wasn't really about the win, I guess. Like, I just like seeing crews, like together going at it. I used to love that era of like just crews battling each other, like the skill methods, the phase twos, all of them. Like, I miss all that.
That was an era,
yeah.
So when it comes to battling, I know just more recently, you guys in the past 10 years, you guys were really going heavy in the one-on-ones, and there was a point where you hit me up because we were talking about you, Luigi. We were like, yo, Luigi needs to battle more, because I always felt, I told you personally that I want to see you out more.
Always like reached
and
out
then
to me.
I think I told you the same thing he told you. It was like, you just need to post more, bro. It's not that people are forgetting you. It's just that there's so much going on sometimes that's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And Flea, you could kind of relate, right? Because there was a point where he hit me up because he wanted to do the world final. And I was like, you just need to post more. And then this guy comes up with 365. I was like, you took that shit
word? I'm gonna
to a
post
whole
every
nother
day.
level. You took that shit literally.
He's like, I'm gonna post every day.
I would have posted every day.
Go.
But bro, that ended up starting a movement.
Yeah.
Right? Because I started seeing other B-boys do it. Hijack, Mace, a few B-boys from Europe and in Asia, right?
I think Hijack's, his whole like dance school did it. Like all his students did it together. They all did it together. That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so dope, man. I have so much respect for you because I know even when we were in Poland, you were sick and you were still shooting yourself do 365. That's dedication. That's discipline.
Yeah.
So in those years, that was more recently too, you made it to the semifinals, but even though you didn't win, you pretty much won the event because you were the most talked about B-boy, for a couple of years. And same with Luigi, even though, you were in the finals, I felt like so many people were talking about you, in Switzerland during that world final. So anytime anyone asked about the crew skill methods, I'm like, yo, they're the people's champ. Even Cloud.
Cloud made
finals too, bro. You guys are always the most talked about B-boys at the event, more than the
done
winners
really
themselves.
Well. And I.
But why do you think that? Why is that, Ronnie? Why do you think that?
Because, bro, like, you guys are one of the best crews in the world. That's the reason why we called you guys out for our Super Crew anniversary.
Yeah.
It wasn't because there was any beef. It's because we respected you guys a lot.
Yeah.
You guys carried the essence. You guys fashionable. Individually, you guys were you guys' own B-boy. There wasn't anyone that was trying to emulate anyone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just always had a lot of respect for your crew. Even though, ironically, I voted against Cloud. Like, I wanted him to win, but in my eyes, I thought that he lost. But I was getting a lot of heat for that shit,
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard being a judge. You already know. But
I hate it.
Overall,
I can't stand being a judge.
you guys were like the crew that everyone would always talk about,
I mean, I looked up to the crew forever, to a point where I got into it eventually, the crew. But I was in Rocksteady because half of them were in Rocksteady.
Right.
That was like the only reason why. I mean, no offense, no disrespect, but I almost like learned about Rocksteady and everything like just because of them and that they were in it. And then I was like, oh snap, I'm in this like pillar of hip hop, this crew, this like famous crew. And I was really like, I learned so much, you know, being in it. And it was dope because it was like part of like my steps to, you know, Luigi becoming Luigi, you know? So I was like, before I got into skill method, I had to like go through like the whole rock steady phase and stuff like that, which is dope because I learned the importance of foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And in our crew's motto is like foundation is the key to creativity. So it's kind of like it all worked out, you know?
But yeah, even between Super Crew and Skill Methods, I always felt that we were like-minded in the sense that we understood the industry.
Mm-hmm.
We knew entertainment, right? We knew how to perform. And if you really look at both crews, we were two of the most successful crews in America, at least.
Yeah.
And when you talk about just entrepreneurship, I always felt like individually, everyone was always trying to level up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I know you started your clothing brand.
First class.
Yeah. And just recently, I just started seeing it on my feed, and I didn't realize that you started.
Yeah.
But why you're not even promoting it as yours, right?
Because it's a project I've been trying to do since for a long time. Before I even moved to LA, I had this idea.
Yeah.
And I talked about it for so long because I've always known this scene has potential to grow and be big, you know? And you know, I look up to skating and all these other, you know, all these other sports and niches and stuff like that. And you know, one of the things that we don't have is we don't have product to sell. Skateboarding is $1 billion industry because they sell decks, little wheels, screws, grip tape, helmets, pad. They created this stuff like themselves. Like the skateboard we know today was created by skateboarders. The double kicktail, that was made by them, you know? So it's like I felt like we've always needed to do that as well, you know, kind of create our own things. And it's like we've been dancing on kitchen floors this whole time. The dance has evolved so much, but the floor we dance on hasn't. Like till this day, people still think we break on cardboard and like, you know, kitchen floors and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't know. I thought it was a cool idea to have our own thing, our own skateboard, you know? And so with these like floors that I'm making, it's not too big, not too small. You know, it's just more for, because it's something I've always wanted.
Right. What is it called?
Linoleum.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Linoleum. Like your name?
No, Linoleum.
Oh, I was just like say, linoleum.
It's just L.
Yeah, we just took the.
Well, you should have called it linoleum.
Yeah, I know everyone says that. Everyone says, but I'm really not like that.
Yeah.
I'm not like you said. I don't even post. I don't promote it. I don't talk. I mean, I promote it, but I don't like to be like, this is mine. You know what I mean? Because this is ours. You know. This is the scene.
It's you and your boy.
Yeah, me and my buddy Nader, we
That's
started
cool.
like
Nader,
I've always had the idea, and I approached so many people to the point even Mex was gonna help me do it. Rest in peace.
So this is even back then over there.
Yes, and I sent him I made a prototype back then, and I sent him half of it, and we were like working and we're coming up with ideas and stuff like that, and then you know he passed away. And it kind of just like was sitting on the shelf for a long time, the idea, you know, until I met my boy Nader. He breaks as well. He actually hit me up for a private, and he does a lot of stuff like, you know, engineering and product design. It's like he works with Tesla, super educated. And we kind of just were like spitballing, and I gave them my idea, and then, you know, we just started doing it, you know, cool. and it's been fun, you know.
He believed in it. He's like, yo,
he believed in it, and like he's been like without him, it wouldn't have happened, you know, because I'm just the idea man. But you know, the fact that it was created by B-boys, and it's something that like, I don't know, I just think we need to start taking ourselves more serious like that. You know what I mean? Like any sport, surfing, skiing, all these things, you know, entry level things are expensive, and you have to buy a $300, $700 surfboard just to start, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying we have to do that, but it's just like, yo, let's be more professional. Let's start like, you know, taking ourselves a little more serious. you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's cool. Even with a Flea Rocks brand, I was with you in Outbreak 2 years in a row, and this fool was sold out both years, right? And I remember seeing a post of your China production, and I was blown away with the stuff that you've been producing because it's a lot that goes into it, man. That's what a lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize that if you
Yeah.
want to put something out there, it takes time, which makes sense
Yeah.
why you've been working on this for years.
Yeah.
The scene has been you know, it's been kind of relying on just like graphic tees and headspin hats and stuff like that, and like that's cool and all, but you know, we forgot we're b-boys. We're the best in style. We you know, we look good, we look dope, we have dope ideas, we're fresh. So it's like we had a like we weren't really relevant with the style of today, which b-boys should we should always be with the style. Like we run the style, you know what I mean? So it's like him doing clothes selling out is because he's you know is current. The current style of today, you know what I mean? It's not just a tee with a graphic on it. He's actually doing the cuts that people like today, the size people are wearing today. It's relevant, you know? So I think that's part of his success. Also, it's Flea Rock. You know what I mean? Like one of the most you know, looked up to b-boys in the scene. So it's like, you know, that's a good recipe for a brand, you know, especially in the scene. You know, it's like I feel for the longest time promoters were kind of doing the tees and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
You know, so now we got like actual b-boys like making their own thing, their own cuts, their own style, their own colors, which I think what we needed for the longest time.
How'd you come up with First Class?
I think me personally, I'm like, I just always need to be creating. If it's not breaking, I'm like making beats. I'm
rapping,
writing poetry or rhymes, doodling graffiti. You know what I mean? Like, or coming up with ideas for the clothing brand. Yeah, I mean, I think my first thing I ever made was before I came up with First Class. I did T-shirts actually with Yorick from Culture Shock Taiwan. We did the shirt that says "B-boying is my nationality," and then we did a hat that was like a Rasta color hat with the Lion of Judah.
So a lot of people are rocking it though.
Yeah. We made like 100 and sold out.
Wow.
You know, I don't know how long it took to sell out, but we did that with Yorick, and we had them in the Biggest and Baddest website too. But then I think maybe 2 years later, a couple years later actually, I came up with First Class.
So it's been around for how long?
I came up with First Class like 2015. I was just in my room and I was looking at the mail. Like I had a mail package and it said First Class on it. And I was thinking like I wanted to make a logo. I was actually like, I had a polo on at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, looking at it, I was like, damn, why do I always rock other people's like symbols and, you know, stuff? I don't play polo. You know what I mean? Like, but I have a polo right by my heart, a guy playing polo. So I was like, damn, I wanted to take like the polo sign, and the first thing I came up with was the silhouette of the top
right.
And I put that on like a shirt, like embroidery.
That's dope.
Instead of a polo, I was like, yeah, I feel better now. You know, it's like it's a b-boy. You know what I mean? So I was like, represent what I do, right? Putting money into other big brands, buying polo, Nautica, Tommy. You know, I was doing that because I was always a fashion head since I was a kid. I was like, I need to start putting my money into something I created, you know? And First Class actually stands for, my first class was hip hop. My first class was real, like the first class I actually learned something. I went to school, you know, I was in school, but I was a kid, like I was a creative kid. Like I didn't want to sit there and listen and learn at what school had to teach me. You know what I mean? I couldn't sit still, right? So, my first class that I actually learned something valuable in my life was breaking, was hip hop. And that's why I named it First Class. And obviously First Class,
has
is, you know,
double meaning.
Yeah, the highest of high, right? Quality wise, not quantity.
I like that.
So yeah, like you said, it's a lot of work and no return, really. For a clothing brand, if you know clothing, and yeah, you can go years and years and years trying to do what you're doing and not really make any profit. It more goes back into the brand. Like I said, I want to eventually branch out into the fashion world. But yeah, it's something I enjoy doing, giving back to community. so they could be fly.
Yeah.
A lot of breakers.
A lot, bro. I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Wait, is that Flea? No, that's oh no, that's Clayju.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's why they named it Flea Rock gear. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like Linoleum. I named it first class. I didn't want it to be about me really. It's more about you know.
It's weird, right? Because then in breaking we wear crew shirts and stuff like that, so that mentality kind of like transfers over.
Yeah.
It's like if you had a shirt that says like Flea Rock, like I want to rep Luigi at the end of the day. Like even though I don't have no problem, I'll wear your shirt. I'm just saying we're crew is different. But like seeing someone else from another crew is weird. It's kind of weird.
I remember in the beginning of
unless you're a diehard fan, someone would. In the beginning, Dizzy Threads, people actually rock Dizzy Threads because they're fans of Dizzy.
In the beginning of like the whole first class process, a lot of people didn't want to buy it because you know breakers are so competitive. They're like, I don't want to rock something that Flea Rock. You know what I mean? Like, right? But it's just you're rocking Nike.
Yeah.
You don't know that guy. You know what I mean? Like you're rocking this, so it's like it was a process.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want people to feel like they're rocking your name on their back because breaking, you know, you rock your crew and your name.
Right.
And it's to me, it's for us, I guess, at least for me, it's another way to show support with the scene. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I probably don't post that much. I don't compete as much, but like, yo, I'm working behind the scenes on like products and stuff like that for, you know, to help maybe this can elevate the scene a little more.
Scale.
Yeah, you know, like giving us something to work with.
Market.
So yeah, not everybody's gonna support like that. So it's like I feel like maybe this is my contribution to breaking. You know what I mean? Like I break for so many years. I inspire people, but like, you know, I don't teach that much either. I'm just a super reserved dude, man. You're not gonna see me.
I can tell.
You could tell me to post right now, but I'm probably not gonna post that much. You know, and it's okay. I'm not like in a rush. Everything happens the way it's gonna happen. Like I said, this floor idea is old, man. I've had this idea forever, and then it's just now coming out. Right. So it's just, you know, everything has its time. And it was like good timing too. It's like the Olympics and all that stuff. It was kind of like the way it happened was kind of perfect, and I wouldn't change it.
So you guys recently, a few months ago, competed at Lords of the Floor as a duo.
Yeah.
When did you guys hear about it, and when did they end up inviting you guys? Because I actually knew that they were going to invite you guys last year.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, you might know a little more what happened on the other side, but apparently, like in the beginning, they had like more of a U.S. roster, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so we are a part of that. Yeah. And I mean, I grew up watching this jam, so, and I've been dying for them to bring it back. I would tell all you guys, every time I hang out with some Red Bull people, I'm like, yo, what's up with Lords of the Floor? Like, you know what I mean? So when I heard it coming back, I was super excited. And when they asked me and him, I was like, all right, perfect. Because, you know, Skill Methodz repped in the original ones.
Yeah.
So for us to do it, and like I love battling with Flea, and it just means a lot to me to be considered and to rep, you know, on that stage, especially with him. And
how was the experience? How did you guys like it? The vibe, the people you battled.
I was going through it. I had just had surgery 6 months prior on this knee for my meniscus, and then this one was already torn. So it was locking on me. It was buckling when I would dance. So I had to like tape it up and had like two like the metal joint, you know the shit that's like makes you feel like
I could not break in that shit. I tried to, like, there's no way.
Yeah, so I had to break like
that.
It's
even worse. It's supposed to restrict.
So you movement. Don't, you know. But it was for me. I was like 30%. I couldn't do much. And literally a week after that, I got surgery on this knee.
Oh man!
So I had 2 meniscus surgeries.
How do you feel now?
I'm good now. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting my shit back now. Yeah.
Congratulations on your recent win.
That's right. Yeah.
He's like, hey, did I win? Yeah, that was last.
Yeah. It was, just another I didn't feel. I honestly, I'm hard on myself. I'm a hard critic for myself. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I did shitty that whole battle, but
really. I didn't get to see any of it, but I saw some highlights.
Yeah. I mean, people said I look good, so I was like, "Hey, you like it? Cool."
So you guys still battling?
Yeah. I mean, I always battle, especially with my crew and stuff like that.
I'm trying to
They ask
battle a
me-
lot in the next year.
I mean,
trying to-
Lords of the Floor. To me, I think the only thing I would have done different is probably like compete right before it, because it was like I went from not battling to doing like one of the biggest battles,
Yeah.
and like it's a big deal. Kind of they call it being like seasoned. Like a lot of these dancers, they battle every weekend, bro.
Yeah.
They can trial stuff. The process of elimination.
I felt like we won,
that doesn't
though.
work.
I mean,
Next
cut you off.
battle.
I felt like we won
strikes
Lords of the
against
Floor.
Mano.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But I know what you mean, because every time you battle, you already know, like, fuck, I could have done this, I could have done that.
Yeah,
and every battle after that, you
I'm
just do
battling
better.
Mano and Stripes. These guys literally came from another battle last weekend and stuff like that. I mean, we don't compete like that, but usually if I have something that big, I'll do like a couple smaller one before, so to get a little used to it.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I didn't do that, so I was kind of like a little like in my head, for that battle, but I was nowhere near. I was super confident though. Like I wasn't scared of none of those guys. I was like, Flea, with your hurt leg and everything, we can win this.
I love that.
Because
you guys are throwing routines, right?
We had routines and all that.
Bro,
I
we're
just,
a real
like-
crew. First of all, they just made up the Mano and Stripes thing because Lilu and Junior, couldn't make it. So yeah, people don't take that into consideration. Like, yo, we're a real crew. We got shirts on. It says our crew on it. We're doing routines. They look at one little slip up and they're like, oh, they lost.
This is what it was.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we made these. Like,
You know what I
you
mean?
wore that shirt?
Like,
yeah.
I was even shocked that the judges gave it to them, honestly.
we did some real b-boy shit. Like,
and we had good moments even in that battle.
You did, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I remember, I was there.
And breaking's not supposed to be perfect. This ain't the Olympics, bro. Y'all like scoring us on points. Like, no, feel what we doing. Feel what the truth of the matter is. You know what I mean? Like, but hey, we're not gonna get into all that. Yeah, I love everybody.
Yeah. Hey, speak your truth.
No.
Speaking of the Olympics, you were there. How was it?
The Olympics was dope. I got the opportunity to be like in like the training facility with all the athletes. It was a dope experience.
Biggest highlight that you've seen
Yeah, it was good.
on both days?
Biggest highlights?
Or just like one moment that you're just
for me,
embracing?
like breaking for 30 years and then to see it on this scale, because I love when people get to see breaking. The more people get to see breaking, for me, is better for us, right? Unfortunately, the internet and the way things turned out after wasn't the best. I don't think it's Raygun's fault that the internet blew up like that. But yeah, I think it's more important that we focus on the people that actually did something, and did good and killed it. But yeah, everywhere you go, like from TSA to like going through customs to the security guards, people on the planes, you hear them like they're talking about Raygun.
I know.
They literally thought Raygun won the whole thing. Yeah, I sat to people next to the plane. They just didn't know nothing about breaking, nothing about where hip hop comes from. And it's always been like that, even before the Olympics. Like you talk to people about breaking, they don't know, you know? And I don't mind that, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Like breaking for me is like meant for the underground. It's meant for these inner city neighborhoods. That's what it's really meant for, to save people's lives, save kids' lives.
Yeah.
You know, they figure out themselves, knowledge themselves. You know, they figure out an outlet. You know, kids that actually need it, right? And then the kids that really don't need it, but they find it and fall in love with it. You know, it's for them too. You know, so I think breaking is for the youth. I think breaking is for self. You know, it's like for me, it's always been like a religion, a practice. A way of life. And to me, that's always been more valuable than any money you can put in my pocket or any trophy you could give me, because without your health, without having a real passion for something in this lifetime, you know, it's just material things that are temporary, you know what I mean? So for me, the Olympics is the Olympics and breaking is breaking, and nothing can change what breaking is, you know? Only they can talk about it on the internet. You know, it's not for everybody.
It's not.
You know?
Yo, to me, the Olympics was just another fancy jam, man. Like, even though it was dope to see it, to me, it was just like, okay, cool. Something we've been loved to do for the longest time finally has a reintroduction to the world, you know? Because, you know, before the Olympics, like I said before, everyone thinks oh, you break, crazy legs, cardboard. Like they still think that era of like breaking. They don't know that how big it is international. That people are doing 20 spins on their elbow tip. They they don't know that side of it. And to me, it was like, okay, cool. We have to get this right. We have this job right now to reintroduce breaking to the world, and we have to be very careful. Because my thing I've always felt was like, okay, you don't know who's watching for the first time. So if you do something whack, someone's probably gonna be like, oh, that's breaking. Oh, that's whack. But if you've done breaking right, correctly, it's beautiful. I think it has rules to it. That's why there's rules to it. I think that's why there's foundation, because people need to follow those rules so that someone that doesn't know what's going on can look at it and understand what's going on. And that was my thing with I'm super happy for everyone that did it. That's such an achievement for the whole scene. It was dope. My thing is, I just wish it wasn't a one-on-one format. I wish it was a crew, because that's how I fell in love with breaking. And I think that's like the dopest part about breaking, and what sets everyone apart is that the crews have their own style, where they come from. They rep New York, or they rep Vegas, or they rep Florida. So they all come with their own thing. Every member has what they're strong at. This guy's good at power move, blah, blah. Yeah. When you do a one-on-one competition, you're literally telling everyone, I got it all. Don't worry. I got this all. I got power moves, flexible moves, foundation, all that stuff. But what happens is not everyone's like that. It's rare to find an all-arounder. So you got people answering back to things they can't do.
Yeah.
This guy does a power move. This guy answers back with flexible move. And it's just like, to the people who don't understand breaking, that's weird to them. I was talking to people, Uber drivers, all that. They were trying to, every time they saw a power move, they thought that won. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it kind of makes sense, because like, the difficulty and all that stuff. But, they don't understand other things. But I think if it was in a crew format, it would have been easier to understand.
Right, yeah.
Because you'll send the power move out after this guy, or you'll set up traps. It'll be a lot more interesting to me.
And it is entertaining. When you guys shot Battle of the Year, the movie, imagine that was like the most people that ever attended a breaking event. Yeah. Right? There was, 16,000 people in the audience when you guys shot the movie? And Battle of the Year itself would bring in that many people because people wanted to see a crew competition. Jinjo versus Massive Monkeys at R16 is the most watched video out there. It's like 98 million views. Because you saw the energy was going back and forth. So I completely agree with you.
But just imagine the best dudes from the U.S. And you could be politically correct and have a B-girl, a veteran, a kid, all on the team. So you cover everything. You don't have to be doing B-girl battles, blah, blah, blah. No, we all rep.
That's also our representing the U.S. Too.
Exactly.
3v3, 2v2s. Just as long as there was some sort of camaraderie, it kind of told a story, right?
And I just think promoters, it's cheaper to fly one dude out. At the end of the day, it's a budget thing too. They're saving a lot of money, you know what I mean? Because I get it, flying a whole crew out, 5 tickets, or but to me, I think that's what the scene is really missing. One-on-ones are great, but like I said, you have to be dope. You have to be really good, and you have to be confident to do a one-on-one, I think.
Shout out to Raygun.
Yo, shout out Raygun.
Hashtag Raygun.
Yo, Raygun never.
Get us more views.
Raygun never DM me back.
Did you actually hit her up?
Nah. Yo, she left me on scene.
Do you guys know her personally?
Nah.
No, you guys ever met her?
I ran into her recently in Europe.
Was she at IBE?
At World Battle.
She's at World Battle. Did she battle?
No, she just went. I think she just went. But I just, like I said, I was walking and I said hi to somebody else and she was with them and we said hi, but I didn't really recognize her until I kind of left. They were like, oh, that was Raygun. I was like, oh.
That's so wild, bro.
Because I didn't know, and then I saw her again at a restaurant. I was like, hey.
It's so crazy how she's
but I don't know what to say, for me, she's just another B girl.
Yeah.
I'm sure she loves breaking, I don't know her. I don't know her personally.
She's good to nothing, to be honest. It's not.
The internet broke because of her, because of the whole breaking thing. But I think her responsibility now, after all that, is to just go online and educate people about the culture and let them know the truth. What's the truth? And educate people more on what breaking is, and why we do it, how we do it, the way we do it, where it comes from, who's the originators of it. True. The blacks and the Puerto Ricans. in the Bronx is their culture, you know. So it's like you gotta make sure when now she has the light, you gotta educate the mass majority on what it really is. I think that's her responsibility.
Also,
Yeah.
and maybe not make it about like racking up points. You know, like actually
Is that
do
what she
research.
talked about in the interview? Because
No,
it's like justification, right? Like,
yeah, but she you know, she did nothing. She's guilty of nothing. She racked up points.
yeah.
She got there. You know,
Yeah, it's not her
it just
fault.
shows you that
It's not her fault. But what I was saying is
it's
that
not about the points and all that.
now
Like,
that
do
she
your
has the
research.
light,
Oh,
right, yeah,
that
yeah.
that
now
sense,
that
bro.
she has a light, she has a opportunity to educate the mass majority on what breaking is, you know, the correct way to do it and whatnot, you know, just that type of shit.
And just everything that ended up happening in the Olympics just aligned with the narrative, right? Even from just how the Australian scene is. I don't know. It was just crazy.
She's probably the most viral thing ever to come out of breaking. Period.
Period.
And which is kind of crazy, man. It's kind of like, but yo, I don't know. I don't know whose job it was, but maybe they could have like filtered that out a little more, like did more research on the people competing. Like, oh yeah, that's dope.
I mean, when I grew up, the way we grew up is like whoever's teaching you is not supposed to let you compete unless you're at a certain level. You know what I mean? Like that was like my OGs would say, like, yo, don't even try to battle until your shit is right. You mean, so you got your moves right, you got, you know, you could dance. You know what I mean?
It's called respect.
Yeah, it's out of respect. Like, so whoever, no disrespect, but whoever taught her didn't know that rule in breaking. Like, yo, she wasn't, I guess, on the level of the other, you know, B girls that actually made it.
Because really, she was not on the Olympic level, but then if you saw other clips of her, she wasn't that bad if she was like competing at like a regional level in her in their country, right?
Right.
But she was the easiest target. And if it wasn't her, it would have been Nika. If it wasn't Nika, it would have been Talash. It could have been Phil Wizard too. Because imagine, you could do highlights of Phil Wizard and they could have targeted him. It wouldn't have went viral like Raygun. But I just feel like the media was waiting. They were on standby to look for something bad. Because they could have highlighted Hero 10 or highlighted some amazing moments, but they didn't. They did. Snoop Dogg did, but I'm talking about the mainstream media didn't.
Right.
Our society's based on humor though, too. It's like everything's got to be funny. Like we always got to make fun of everything. You know what I mean? It's just society how it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, I always say that's why it's a very, you know, everyone is like, oh, you guys are just strict on foundation, very biased. Yo, those rules aren't like they're for a reason. Like you're supposed to look fresh at all times. Like she did this that ended up all the way around the internet because she wasn't like this. You know, she didn't have a good shape or something like that. So it's like, you know, they taught us to be fresh at all times because you don't know who's watching. You always, I was always taught that always act like
every millisecond,
someone's there taking pictures of you every
Always,
frame, and so every frame's gotta look dope. You know what I mean? So it's like you know, a lot of the OGs got a lot of heat for being so strict and they're just bitter, blah blah. But yo, they're guilty of just preserving the culture, man.
That's true.
And it's kind of like sad because they get kind of looked down, like they're just these old bitter guys. But man, they made this up, and they're seeing a mockery happen of what they made up. You know, so it's like you kind of have to understand both sides to the thing.
That's
you know
very true. Yeah.
You know, so I still have a lot of respect for the OGs and all that created it. I understand what they're saying because it's like that's a perfect example of what happened. Like, you know, breaking was introduced, Raygun was on the platform, everyone saw that, and that's what they saw. It wasn't nothing fresh about it, you know what I mean? It wasn't something cool.
It's when you take originality out of context, because I do agree with it, because you could look fresh. And I know Style Elements got a lot of heat from a lot of OGs because they kind of went, you know, left, but then they still made it look good. Like Remind made it look fresh, you know? But then like maybe someone like, it was different. But then they still had a level of flavor.
But if you remember, they Crumbs and Ariston and a couple of those guys, they had to learn how to break correctly once they got with Kenny and them, and they got in that show in Vegas with some of the East Coast OGs.
Right, you're right.
They started to go, oh, okay, this is what I'm missing.
True. But same with K-Mel.
Exactly.
Right? Kamel had the
Everybody
flavor, but he
comes
didn't
back
have
to that. To go,
to-
if you study breaking and you're an entrepreneur breaking, you're always gonna come back to having to go, oh, I have to fix my form on this, or maybe I need to add in some more of this, step and learn more from the cast that created it. You're always gonna go back to the source, and that's with anything in any genre of anything. Like if it's ballet, if it's jujitsu, it's martial arts. If you want to be the best at something, you have to go back to the source of what it is. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I practice foundation a lot till this day. I've been breaking, for so long, 15, almost 20 years now or more.
More than 20 years.
I started
499.
yeah.
He's like 15. Like, bro, you're 25 years and 26 years and 25 years. 25 years.
Yeah. So, damn, I didn't even realize that. That's
99
crazy.
to 2024. Yeah.
Yep. So what was it? What were we saying?
Yeah, we're talking about going back to the foundation.
Yeah, I practice foundation the most, like till this day. I and it's not even boring to me. I love practicing the foundation, like the old school moves. Because the new moves, they come. Like, I have no problem making up stuff. But it's like, if my foundation is good, all that stuff will come natural to me. Like, I can freestyle better. So I've always kind of like, and I feel like I got better when I started just focusing more on the foundation. I know it's boring and stuff like that sometimes, but if you can rock a solo, I always tell all my students this, I'm like, you can just rock a solo of just foundational moves and make that look fresh, then that's the formula right there. If you, because everyone's doing moves now, like they rely on moves and to look cool. But if you can rock a solo with just the foundation,
that's strong.
Yeah.
And make that and win around like that, like you
freeze frame look perfect. You're completely right. Yeah, I agree.
It's also about the music too.
Yeah, music.
It's connecting the foundation with the music.
I don't know if you want to talk about it, but we're both parents, and obviously that kind of changes a lot when you have different priorities and responsibilities, because your focus isn't just on the dance. Now you have, a family that you have to raise. How has it been since you've been breaking and being a father in the scene, and also having kids that break and that are dope at that too?
Man, listen. First of all, my favorite b-boys in the world are my sons. Let's get that clear. Shout out Bomani and Ocean. Yeah, man. For me, having those kids was a blessing in my life. Of course, it was tough. Of course, living in LA, now you have 2 more mouths to feed. So the struggle becomes even harder. As far as managing your time and training, going to work, travel, and all that. So. But overall, I look at the positive thing about it, like my kids are my biggest blessing in my life. And I do everything for them, really, like everything I do at the end of the day is like really for them. First class, breaking, teaching them, taking my time to teach them about life, education, food, whatever it is, it's for them, Once you have kids, that's your purpose.
Yeah.
It changes. Before that, I was wilding. I was flea rock. You know what I mean? When I had my first son, I was like, okay, it's time to, I had times where, I still went back to my old ways in the beginning, but I think for the most part, I recognized early, like, okay, there's a lot of things I got to change and man up and be the best version of myself, so when they see me, they can follow that, right? Yeah.
I got no kids.
He's like my kid too. Shit. He's like my oldest son.
So what's next for both of you guys? What does the future have in store for Flea Rock and Luigi?
As long as I'm able,
Methodz?
I'm gonna continue to dance, inspire, create. I mean, I think that's why we have such a we have longevity in this, because we constantly creating and doing different things, different projects, taking care of ourselves, consistency, and it's a lifestyle for us. I think if it was something we did as like, oh, this is what I do, I probably would have stopped a long time ago. But since I actually live this, and you know, breaking is endless. You know, even though it has a foundation, there's rules. It's endless, bro. You could constantly create stuff, constantly
It's
make
art,
change up
for
style, and that's what keeps me doing it. Because if I had to do same moves all my life, like or just the same things, or battle the same people all the time, and that's one of the reasons why I don't do every battle too, because I like to reinvent myself all the time, and that's why I can still be in this. You know, that's why I can still compete, and I can always show people new things. And I you know, that's just my advice for everyone. Is just constantly be creating, switch up your stuff. If you feel like you're going too much this way, go this way. If you don't know what else to learn everything the opposite way. You know what I mean? Like there's always, you know, you always gotta learn something.
Yeah,
there's always something
possibilities.
To do. It's endless.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Spread
Being
it.
part of the show.
Peace,
Spread
man.
love.
This is awesome.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. I love you, Ronnie.
Love y'all.
You already know.
Yes. Thank you, Ronnie.
Yeah. Peace.
Shout out to Ronnie. Shout out to Red Bull. Shout out to District Arts.
Shout out to First Class. Shout out to Linoleum.
First Class. Check out Linoleum. Check out firstclass.com.
Yes.
Shout out to my moms. Shout out to Bomani, Ocean.
Let's go.
Keep
it moving. Keep it grooving.
CCU7. Skill Methodz.
Comment below and let us know who you want to see at our next District Talks episode. Thank y'all for tuning in to District Talks. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Peace. Are your kids waiting for you? I don't want to keep you guys up.
No, they're not here yet.
Oh, okay.
Yo, kick us out already, man.
No. I was trying to, man. I was like, I'm looking at my watch. Get the hint, man.